What is going on, Faithful? We are back here on Fightful Scraps with another interview here today. We are joined by Giovanni Giorgio and Chuck Mambo of Pro Wrestling Ceasefire. They kicked off all-in weekend last week for a very, very good cause for the people of Palestine, and we are here today to talk to them. How are you both doing today, lads?
Doing good, just recovering from the insane lack of sleep. I know I've certainly had over the weekend, but I wasn't half as busy as Mambo, so I'm amazed he's able to keep his eyes open.
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, it was a very spiritually rewarding couple of week nearly of wrestling, actually. Yeah. My God. Then I got back, had 4 hours sleep and went to the farm. But I got tomorrow off, so life is good.
Fantastic. So we'll go with the beginning, lads. We'll talk about the beginning of the inception of Pro Wrestling Ceasefire. When did that kind of come together for you both? And was it kind of a gradual thing, or did it come very fast?
It's an idea that came together quite quickly once we got the ball rolling. So basically, as long as I've known Mambo, he's been very vocal and very passionate about Gaza and about Palestine and the people of Palestine. And obviously, there's been this massive escalation over the last, 10 months. And it's the latest chapter in an ongoing thing that's been happening for decades. And it got to the point where, we were seeing events of this type being held, but like not in the UK and certainly not around wrestling in the UK. I think Gabriel Fuerza and his team in Canada, I believe, are doing a show that hasn't happened yet, although I thought it had because I got, in Canada and America, they get the dates the wrong way around. So there was a bit of a mix up there, but I wish them luck with that show when it happens. But yeah, so we wanted to help in any way we can. And we saw that a show of this type hadn't happened in the UK yet. And I mean, I just thought, while it's on my mind and I want to get the ball rolling, who can I ask to get involved with this? First person I think of is Mambo, and then I'll need to look back for our text and find the exact date. I think it was it July, maybe end of June or beginning of July. It was 6 weeks we had, so July, I think, actually.
I think it was July, because I believe July 4th was the March
4th of July, Independence Day. Right. So I believe I just messaged Mambo, 2 words. I think it was sort of Palestine fundraiser ? He said, yeah. So I started getting the ball rolling, and then, the doubt starts to creep in, like, all in the week's already jam-packed. We've left it too late. It's only 6 weeks. Will people want to be vocally involved in this? Is it too, controversial, even though it's a basic human rights issue? But I mean, the success of it blew us away. We were happy with whatever happened on that night in Chandler Hall in Lambeth, but the way it turned out exceeded definitely my wildest expectations, and it really just I think, as Mambo said earlier, it was very, very spiritually rewarding. It's the most, I mean, against the backdrop of a horrible, debilitating human rights issue, but it was just such a wonderful evening, and it did sort of certainly filled me, and I think it filled a few people with hope, seeing the kind of reception and the kind of positivity that can happen when the community comes together.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm aware that it can almost seem tactless, maybe, for a lot of people in a country that's directly involved in doing the violence, to be patting each other on the back about raising some money for the charity. But I do think that it can be really, really exhausting and make people switch off to. That's not like an excuse for it or anything like that, but like, it can be really hard to constantly see bad news and really, really graphically horrible war crimes happening all the time. So I think hopefully it won't seem tactless that we're celebrating that a good thing happened, because I do think it's a really important counterbalance to give people something to feel really positive and excited and hopeful about. And when we were in the middle of our match and the crowd were chanting ceasefire now, I was like, oh my God, this beautiful daft thing called wrestling actually can be like a force to improve the world. I wanted to say change the world, but it sounds so hokey. But in addition to it being a fundraiser, it was cool because friends of Alexa were there as well, and they got like 14 volunteers signed up, and they got rid of all of their educational information that they'd brought with them. So like it did feel like it was also consciousness raising as well as you know a fundraiser, which is by itself a good thing. So
yeah. It felt like the perfect marriage of entertainment and awareness, I think, because shout out to Zuby and his wonderful partner as well. They
absolutely
spread so much information about FOA, Friends of Alexa, and as you said, they came away with 14 new volunteers, and it's just it's exactly what we wanted. It's a night to not just raise money, but raise awareness. And I mean, I just from the time I've known Zuby, which is only since July, from your recommendation, I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful that we have him on board, satellites around us. Yeah,
definitely.
And with a show that kind of, like you said, blending awareness and wrestling, there was a lot of really, like, just from even the promotional material, really fun matches being announced for the event. And what was that like to kind of match make? Was there a kind of a worry to not take away from the awareness side by booking something that's maybe a bit that would take attention away from the cause, or was that really an issue for you guys?
That's a really interesting question. So when putting the card together, all I had in mind was that it just needed to be a fun night of wrestling. So, who are the people I can book that, I can rely on, are professional, and who can basically do the job. So it was a difficult thing in that I did want it to just be a good wrestling show, but I even said in the rundown and the information sheet I sent out to people, I said, on this show, the wrestling is secondary. It's against the backdrop of fundraising and I guess you'd call it activism as well, just because of the nature of the event and the fact we had Friends of Alexa there. But I mean, as you can see from just the quality of the matches and the reception online, we couldn't have picked a better team. We had variety. We had, I think, without trying to, toot my own horn, but really, I'm tooting the horn of everyone on the show. Without me being able to put into words what the show needed, everyone on the show provided it. If that makes any sense,
Yeah.
And I mean, if I could just quickly shout out, every single person who we contacted said yes without hesitation. There was no umming and ahhing. There was no, it's a bit controversial. Literally every single person you saw on that card is the first person I contacted, and they went, I'm in, just like that.
Yeah.
And many of them donated like some or all of their wage. Some people donated beyond that to actually help the running costs of the show, so that more of the money went directly to UNICEF as well. And I gotta say, like, it was a remarkable I know it was the sum of a lot of things, like the excitement of All In Weekend. People are excited when they're watching something that they know is for a good cause. For some reason, wrestling on a weekday is just like more exciting as well. It always seems to have like a buzz amongst the crowd. But like, it was a perfect variety show. Nobody held anything back. And I mean, everybody knows that Kanji and Jordan Breaks is like an actual match of the weekend contender. So I just want to say as well, a big thank you to all the wrestlers for not holding anything back. Shah Samuels, who, by the way, thank you for booking that match, Gio, because that's just like a dream come true, getting to wrestle Shah Samuels. But he looked like not a ghost, but a husk of a man when he'd come from a really long work shift. And he was like, I can't think. And yet he still just went out there and was like the absolute best Shah Samuels that he could be. Like, is a really wonderful thing. And to that point of taking away attention from the cause, I don't think it was a problem, because I think the more fun and amazing and first time encounter and great you make it, the more eyes and money it brings to an important cause. So I don't think that it's separate interests in any way.
Absolutely. Not mutually exclusive, I guess.
That's the one. Yeah, I knew that.
Let me just surrey it up.
And the event did draw a bit of political attention from Jeremy Corbyn, who reached out to you guys and thanked you for the event. So, do you want to go through what that was like and how that, like, what that felt like to kind of have that that kind of person just reach out to you guys and go, "Look, great job."
It was. It blew my mind. So basically, a little bit of backstory. I was just, trying to do as much advertising as press as possible, but on our budget, we didn't want to. And also, another thing to mention is that the running costs for this show, due to the nature of the event and the limited time we have, were, I'd say, higher than your standard wrestling show. So the fact that, bearing that in mind, we still raised. You'll have to forgive me. I think the exact number, it was £2,069 plus gift aid. The fact that we did that with the running costs we did really blew me away. So in the run up to this event, I'm trying to do as much advertising and as much press. And so I'm contacting as many vocally pro-Palestine athletes, brands and politicians as I could. And of course, Jeremy Corbyn, vocal for decades. And you know how sometimes you just think, the worst they could say is no, or even if we don't get a reply, at least we tried. I thought, I will contact the press office of Jeremy Corbyn. And I almost forgot I'd done it. It was one of those things, I sort of woke up in the morning and thought, did I dream I did that? No, I actually did it. And then less than 24 hours later, hello, this is Jeremy Corbyn's press secretary. I should have printed out the email to have with me, but it basically said, Jeremy is busy because I think Commons is out, but he has some stuff to do. I've passed it on to him and we'll let you know ASAP. And I thought, I've got +1 with Jeremy Corbyn. I've got like a sort of 7 degrees of separation thing going on here. Yeah. And then unfortunately, he wasn't available to attend the event because could you imagine the pop if Seven Nation Army starts playing? Who's this? Out comes Jezza through the
We've
curtain.
got a year this time, baby. Jeremy Corbyn and Andrew Feinstein against Sunshine Machine.
If your question later on was going to be what's the dream match to book for the next that one. But anyway, yes, his office sent a lovely message and wished us luck. And I mean, yes, so, an idea as sort of random and seemingly small as this, it can attract big attention.
And with that in mind, there was a couple of people who, for one reason or another, couldn't make the event. Mansoor, and with that in mind, is there, for the next time you guys do run an event where you do have unauthorized gate next year for Forbidden Door, is by the way, fantastic name for the event, by the way, fantastic. I was very I did have a good chuckle when I read that, but with that in mind, is there people that you are really looking forward to possibly bringing in for the next event?
Well, there was a rather exciting tweet today, I think.
Yes, sir. I was going to bring that up. Mr. Mustafa Ali said he'd be interested, and obviously he, along with Mansoor, are two of the most vocal wrestlers about especially with how high profile they are, AEW, TNA, former WWE for both of them. Are they both two talent that you're looking forward to possibly bringing in for the next event?
If we could make that happen, I think we'd have to probably book a bigger venue.
Absolutely.
But
I mean, if we have to, we will, because 100% those guys, any day of the week they're free, we'd love to work together. Obviously, again, they've just been so vocal as well, since day one. If the opportunity arose, we'd be fools not to jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, with that in mind, I do want to just ask one question about someone who couldn't be there, someone who was originally scheduled to be there. This is more for you, Gio, being his manager, Connor Mills. He had to pull out of the event last minute. Could you provide any background on that, how that went down? And was it just a scheduling issue? I know he had other dates to do this week as well, so...
I don't want to speak on his behalf, so if he's happy to talk about it in the future, I will. But I will just say to quell any rumors at all. It was, nothing funny, nothing dodgy. It was completely circumstantial, and It is a situation that we became aware of. So the show was on a Thursday. I think around the Friday before, we had a conversation where it was 50-50. So, you know, I always like to try and keep the card as originally advertised, and simply because it's a match that a lot of people were looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of 4 first-time matches on the card, a match that, you know, some people may never have considered a possibility, but one of those matches that, as we saw with Kenji and Jordan Breaks, if you just book it, you'll see some magic happen. Yeah. So again, I was looking forward to that match. Connor Mills was obviously looking forward to that match. Even took time out of his week to go to Chandler Hall and send Livy quite a scathing message ahead of it. And there was that heat, there was that excitement. But as we got closer and closer to the event, we realized it just wasn't going to be possible. But I think, as you heard from myself at the end of the show, and Livia said as well, just because it didn't happen that night in Chandler Hall doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You know, we're going to have that Kanji Jordan Breaks rematch sometime down the line. So there's no reason that Livia Grace versus Connor Mills won't happen again for the first time at Pro Wrestling Ceasefire.
Absolutely. And I gave a question just for you, Gio. So Chuck, I'm going to come back with one for you. You you had the opportunity to actually wrestle on the show. You teamed with TK, Sunshine Machine. It was the kickoff to the All In weekend, and for you, as we've mentioned, a very hectic one, a very busy one. Did that kind of give you kind of almost like a good push in motivation, in drive, with doing something first for something with such a good, positive humanitarian cause before moving on to the business side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a weekend of big opportunities for sure, but I think this felt as big and as important as any of the other things that I was doing that weekend, actually, because of I suppose what I said before about the unique. It's not like unique. I know we do a lot of wrestling fundraisers and stuff, but to be so involved in something that felt like it was helping raise money and awareness, and to be the first, because I mean, not to like over egg the impact of the show, but if you go to the first match of a card and it's dog shit, like it could affect how you feel about the rest of the show. Like if you go to the first match of the first show of All In Weekend, like that might affect sort of the momentum you feel for the rest of the weekend. So on top of all of the kind of human rights and international law, and
we almost have the unenviable task of sort of setting the tone for the weekend.
Yeah, in a motivating way. It felt like, you know, we could really get people's weekends off to a good start, and for a good cause. And like, then there is, of course, the other thing of like, thank God, so many people have been so supportive, and they've reached out and they've offered to like come and work or ref or do camera stuff or like donate stuff to the raffle, and everyone's been so cool. And then imagine if we just shat the bed and had like a fucking terrible match, and people were like, "What the fuck was that?"
So
that
to piggyback,
so sad to have done in the name of peace and equality. So I'm really glad that didn't happen.
So to piggyback on that, just a huge shout out to Levi Muir, Malik, and Donny Rivara. They had the very difficult task of not only opening the show, but unofficially opening All In Weekend. And
Indeed.
I mean, as I said, I just knew I'd booked professional guys, so whatever they ended up doing in the ring would be perfect. And talk about just blowing the crowd away from the opening bell. And you know, Levi Muir, people have been singing his praises for a while. Malik, an unsung hero of the British independent scene for a number of years. Donny Rivara, brand spanking new, but you know, invest now, all right, before his stock gets any higher, because that kid has such a bright future. And shout out to Hustle Wrestling, not only for recommending him for the show, but it was mentioned at the show, but I'm going to mention it again because it was such a lovely gesture. I tried to pay them so many times. I said, like, guys, you don't have to do this. Hustle Wrestling insisted on providing the ring hire for free, for zero, for zilch, so that we could maximize the donations for UNICEF. I was trying to throw and they wouldn't take it. And you know, that is, well, I mean, if you don't have a ring, you don't have a show. So thank you, Hustle Wrestling, for providing the ring, and thank you for doing it at zero cost. It cost them money to provide the service to us, but they said, this is an important cause and we want you to help out. So Hustle Wrestling, if you've never been to a Hustle Wrestling show, get yourselves down there because they are the best in the country. It's more than a wrestling show. It's a vibe. So get down there if you can.
Absolutely. And I actually had a little list. I've probably forgotten people, but other thank yous to give out. Bristol Beer Factory for giving us free beer for the bar, which raised like loads. Mansoor, obviously, for the tights that just kept on giving in the raffle because somebody won the tights, then somebody bought the tights, and then she was so nice that she gave £100 just to the raffle pot rather than pocketing it.
Wow.
So
almost an infinite money glitch.
Blacksmith Apparel as well, an attack for donating tickets to the raffle as well. Just everybody else. I'm sure I've missed people, but
yeah, we're gonna have to put our heads together and just type out a whole list of thank yous. There's no way. There's so many people to thank that neither of us are going to remember off the top of our heads in one go. But I think that post will probably put that up tomorrow. It's been a week since the show. We need to get.
I can't believe that. It feels like a year.
So there's obviously a number of ways where you guys can raise more money for the cause. Obviously, there's been plenty of money raised already, but with something was so humanitarian, you always want to maximize merchandise, stuff like that. You mentioned Blacksmith Designs there, Chuck. Do you guys think that could be a possibility in the future with profits going to the cause?
Oh, I certainly hope so because they have undeniably the coolest merch in wrestling. I was going to say British wrestling, but not even British wrestling. A global phenomenon at this point. I mean, I don't want to be too cheeky because they've already given us such a huge solid to support this time around. But if there was anything that we could do that would that would make more money for good causes and also put more Blacksmith Apparel merch out into the world, then that would be a double win if you ask me. Yeah, so nothing has been sort of talked about as far as I know, Gio.
No, nothing concrete so far, but there have been rumblings, and it was just such a pleasure to work with Blacksmith on this show. Their sponsorship was crucial, really, to getting us over that red line of running costs, and it was lovely to have them providing a stall at our event. And unlike at Wembley, it didn't get shut down. Wembley, what the hell was that about? We need some answers, you know. And it was. By the look on Mambo's face, I don't think he has any idea what I'm talking about. Basically, they ran their pop-up at Wembley, and someone sort of unofficially tried to shut it down because they were annoyed about the noise or something, despite the fact they had an official permit or something. And
that's weird.
If you've ever met the Blacksmith team, they're the loveliest guys ever.
They're really nice. Yeah, that's so strange.
But anyway, as Mambo was saying, if we could have some of the sickest merch in the game and raise even more money for UNICEF, then it would absolutely be a win-win. So while there is nothing concrete at the moment, what is concrete is these lovely Pro Wrestling Ceasefire t-shirts available from prowrestlingceasefire.bigcartel.com. We have sold out of XXL, XXL, and I think even large. So we are going to do a restock because so many people tried to buy in person, or there was also a glitch of our inventory system. So people had pre-ordered and couldn't collect their order in person, which we feel horrible about. So we're going to make that right. We're going to reorder the sizes, and we'll probably refund some delivery fees as well. But as I was saying, it is also the softest shirt in the game, as penciled in Nikki, and anyone who's bought one will testify. They are lovely and soft. Beautiful design by Laura, and, you know, more money for UNICEF. So win-win-win. And
actually, in reality, even if we get a ceasefire, there's going to be such a long time, so much rebuilding to do, because I think 80% of the buildings have been demolished, and obviously so much livelihoods have been ruined. This could be a wrestling fundraiser that goes on for the rest of our lives. So if we could, I'm thinking out loud here, so this might need to get edited out as well. But imagine you had like a green version, a red version, a white version, and a black version, and then you could stand everyone together like the Palestine flag.
That'd be fantastic.
That would be. I'm writing that down because
That's it. That's live ideas from the lads. So
yeah.
great to see there. And you did mention it there. Like, it is a conflict and it is an issue that is going to be going on for years and years to come, and the ramifications. So with unauthorized gate being next year, like a full calendar year from now, is there any plans for Ceasefire now to run another event in the meantime?
Well, I think now is as good a time as any. We're going to give you a Fightful exclusive. We are going to run a show later this year in London in November. We're trying to tie down a date and a venue, but it will definitely be in London. It will definitely be in November. And it will definitely be another fantastic night of pro wrestling for a fantastic cause. And as Mambo touched on earlier, if we do get a ceasefire, which is what we're all praying for, it's what we want. We want a ceasefire in the next 10 seconds, if possible. Even if that does happen, it is going to take years, if not decades, to rebuild Gaza, rebuild Palestine. You know, we won't be able to bring back the people who have been lost, the people that have been martyred. But, you know, as long as these people need our help, we're going to raise money for UNICEF. And even, you know, for whatever reason, ceasefire, we close down the doors tomorrow. Me and Mambo decided to just get out of wrestling for whatever reason. We'd still be donating out of our own pocket. Mm-hmm. So in London in November, we will be running another show. Full details to come soon, but that is a little Fightful exclusive for you.
And that's absolutely fantastic news, guys, to hear that is going on. And I just want to, before we do wrap this up, I do just want to ask you about, like, what has made this cause so important to you? And give you the opportunity to just speak on what's happening in Gaza and just to speak your mind on it.
Well, I've been really lucky to know a lot of people that have educated me about it from quite a young age, and I don't know close to everything, of course, but on the issue. But I think one thing, because of course there are multiple disgusting wars and war crimes and violations going on at any given time, but the fact that weapons from our country are being approved by our government to go and be used on killing men, women, and children who have done absolutely nothing wrong, and that's enforcing a power structure that is just so deeply unfair. Like, before this most recent escalation, it was already such an unjust thing, and I think it does give you, as a member, what would you call it, as like a citizen of your country or whatever, it gives you a responsibility to do what you can to make your government act responsibly in a way which you hope will then make their allies act responsibly. Because I think we provide, like, not really like a game changer amount. Obviously, if the US is going to be donating as much as they donate to Israel, it wouldn't put Israel at a threat if they didn't have our weapons, you know. But what it would be is a powerful sign that we respect international law and we respect human life, and we don't want anything from this country to be used in killing men, women, and children who have done nothing wrong. So I think the reason that it feels so important is because despite you'll see people online say, like, well, it's not really a country that's got nothing to do with us. Well, historically it has lots to do with us, because we gave a land with no people to a people with no land, but there was people there, and it wasn't our land to give. And so that's why it's important. And I think as well because it is, as people say, the most well documented genocide to ever happen and still be denied, which is just heartbreaking and can make you have a little crisis of faith in humanity. But as small of a gesture as it was, the event on Thursday really did just boost my faith in humanity so much. So thank you so much to everyone that was involved.
Yeah, and sorry, just to piggyback off what Mambo said, you do often see this argument of, well, it's a different country. What's it got to do with us? Well, if you want to actually look, learn and educate yourself, Google British Mandate of Palestine and see what we did a few decades ago. But just to speak as well, I think I'd be right in saying, Mambo, that you and I are at similar points in our career where we're not making a living from it, but we're really close. And even though we're not making a living from it, the joy and the pleasure we get from doing this is a privilege. How many people can say that they get paid to do the thing they've loved since they were a child, and they get to see their friends basically every weekend? I mean, pro wrestling for me is the thing I look forward to most at the weekends. And then I really had to check myself a few months ago. I went to a show and I was in a stinking mood, and I was sort of, oh, this backstage is crap and this is crap and so is annoying me. And I was really huffing and puffing like, oh, why me? And then if you turn on the news anytime in the past week, you see a man going out to get the birth certificates for his twins and he comes home and they're exploded. Or you see a father holding what doesn't even look like a child anymore. It's a hollowed skull with flesh dripping off. It's stuff. If I was writing a horror novel, I couldn't come up with something that depraved. So, I mean, you asked, why do we do it, and what really impassioned us. It's just, once you've seen 1% of what Israel is doing, you can't turn a blind eye to it. I mean, we're quite privileged in that we could, anytime we wanted, delete the BBC News app off our phones or not listen to the radio. We're privileged in that if we wanted to, me and Mambo tomorrow could never think about Palestine, look at it again. But these people who have done nothing, 70% of whom are women and children, are just being killed in their own homes in targeted strikes. And if you're someone who sees that going on, and you either don't care or you don't even want to help it a little bit, then you're not someone I want to have in my life. I'm very sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. Fuck you, if that's the case. I don't know if I can swear on this, but that's there's some pretty heavy stuff in the news. If you can look at that and it not change you or make you feel something, then fuck off. Sorry.
And I try to think every night before bed about not being defeatist as well, because obviously it's so overwhelming, and that's for us, like, who aren't actually experiencing it. We're like seeing it, but just to try and think about how important and how possible it is to actually rally together and like unfuck the world. That's a hopeful little thought before bed.
And guys, I do want to thank you both for sitting down for this interview. I want to thank you both for doing so much for such a humanitarian cause, just for the betterment of human life and so on. Guys, if you do want to get your tickets for the next event, Unauthorized Gate, the next announced event, Thursday, 22nd of August, there's 21st. Already just 21st?
Yes, 21st.
Oh, I'm just looking at the tweet here and it says 22nd.
No, shit. You been serious? No.
Your tweet earlier, your tweet earlier today. Well,
what did I put? Oh,
you put Thursday, 22nd of August, 2024 for next year.
Oh, son of a bitch! I have. Okay, well, it says the right.
Right. Well, okay.
It says the right date on the graphic. I've typed.
Yeah, the graphic. Yeah, the graphic's the important part.
Yeah,
so
the graphic and the ticket side have got it right, but you are right, Corey. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But
leave this in. I want people to know. I want people to know what a
we're only human, but we are human.
Yeah, and that's what the entire cause is about, guys. Everyone's human. Everyone has a right to life, to a safe home, to just live, really. And right now, unfortunately, a lot of people in Palestine do not have that right now. But like I said, guys, corrected, guys. Unauthorized Gate, Thursday, 21st of August, 2025. 30% of tickets have already sold as of earlier today, which is the tweet that I was reading off, not the original announcement. So you might have got it right in the original announcement, Gio. But front row tickets, guys, are £25. General admission is £20, and all funds raised go to UNICEF and the betterment of life for people in Palestine. And guys, if you want to tell them where they can find you on social media, and Chuck, where they can find you next wrestling.
So you can find Pro Wrestling Ceasefire on Twitter, now called X, at PW_ceasefire. We're on Instagram at Pro Wrestling Ceasefire. Those are our only official social medias. Anyone else is impersonating us. You can find me on Twitter at Gio the Announcer, and on Instagram at Giovanni Giorgio MC. And I couldn't tell you when my next booking is because I need to sleep. So I might put out a tweet later with my upcoming dates.
I am at Chuck Mambo on Instagram and Twitter X. And you can next catch Sunshine Machine in Germany at GWF Wrestling on this Sunday. Yeah. And then after that, go to the Twitter and I'll try and tell you that.
Well, guys, make sure to keep up to date with the official Twitter of PW Ceasefire with their event in November, and of course with their event next year at Forbidden Door weekend. So once again, guys, I want to thank you on behalf of everyone, just to say absolutely fair play to you. And guys, make sure to subscribe to Fightful Scraps for more interviews, and make sure I will have links for donation links in the description of this video, guys. So go check that out. Ticket links will be there as well, and merchandise links. So go check them out, guys, and donate to a good cause. And see you guys next time.
Thank you very much, Corey. Thank you.
Thank you, man.